This might be a short video. Hi. I'm going to be off screen because I don't want to like lean down because you want to see the tabletop. Because yes, I did talk about the last video about the Galaxy Explorer, and I wasn't going to build them, but I said screw it. But I'm only going to build 2 because that's the pieces I had. Again, the limiting factors were the 2x2 round bricks, gray, and the a few other ones, these guys, the 1x4s. But somebody mentioned, a good friend of mine mentioned, did I have enough wing plates and blah blah blah, and I was pretty confident that I did. Pretty confident. So all the other pieces, as you can see, I have. So while I was playing out all the other pieces, there are a few very interesting things about the Galaxy Explorer that I'm probably going to get into when I actually review the Galaxy Explorer. So this is not a review of the Galaxy Explorer. That's going to come when I finish. And of course, I'm dragging my 6880 to 6991 series because I haven't pulled the pieces for the Explorer and Starship yet. But after that, blah, blah, blah. So, but then I'm going to go do the 3-digit numbers. The 885, I think it starts at, I don't think there's one below 885. There's an 884, I can't remember now. To the 928. And do the 4/4s, the 440s and 420s, but a lot of them are identical because 2 different set numbers for the same set. But we'll discuss that when we get into the 3 digits. But right now, I decided to waste my evening, quote unquote, waste my evening by building 2 more Galaxy Explorers. And you can see I have 5 over there. I didn't bother bringing on the white and black one because that would just detract. But so the interesting things, as I keep on finding out, I decided for these 2 Galaxy Explorers, and I did it for the other one that I just got in a lot the other day, and I think is that one over there, is instead of using the pieces in the lot, which is what I like to do when I buy a lot, when I get a used lot from somebody and I know there's classic space sets in it, I try to build as much as possible the sets from the lot. And any pieces missing, I grab from my collection. So this time, however, on that guy, I think it's that guy. I have to look closer. Maybe it's this guy. Maybe it's this guy. Because I noticed when I got the lot that these 1x2 printed tiles with the logo on it were mint instead of faded. So yeah, this is the one I think I got in a lot this year. But what I did was instead of just using the other pieces that were in the lot, because a lot of them were getting yellowed, especially the gray pieces, and some of them some had nicks and stuff and teeth bites, because again, when we're kids, I'll be the first to say, when we're kids, we used our teeth to separate bricks and plates. It's a no-no. You do what you want, but I will not use my teeth anymore. So I replaced all those when I was building this guy to make them as mint as possible. And so when I was pulling out the pieces for these 2 Galaxy Explorers that I'm going to build right now, with the pieces I have, I went through my collection and tried to find the best pieces I had. Now, again, I didn't like critique every single piece. Oh, this one's got like a little more gloss in this one. No, if they didn't look yellowed, they're here. So basically that was it. The ones that I was really worried about was the 6x12s, because these are obviously light gray is gone for decades now. No, it's light blade. But the 6x plates, this is my entire bin of 6x plates, light gray, that I have not used. And again, this is however years of collecting, and you can just see on some of them, and this is the difference in color. This is 6x8, this is 6x6, and they're both light gray, but this one, now, do I use Retro Bright, the hydrogen peroxide, whatever? I'm still on the fence. I haven't done it yet, and I keep on meaning to try, but I haven't done it yet. But a lot of my old bricks are faded, yellowed, especially the light gray, and you can even see this one even has a little bit of, I don't know if you can pick it up there, but there's some pieces here in the middle, but the edges are all a little more yellowed. So, but again, I don't have many. I got some of these old 6x16s. They were wagons for the original train sets. I picked those up. I got some of those when I was a kid, but I also picked them up in a lot the other day. Well, the other day, last year. But I do not have too many more 6x light gray plates. This is it. And if I were to build the other 3 Galaxy Explorers, and this is one thing, so this is not going to go into the bin of doom, even though it's missing a corner here, because this is a 6x plate, and I don't have to make. But the 6x12s, I was looking through here, and I think I have maybe 1 or 2 more 6x12s. Now, I used a lot of gray plates in my layout, so that's where probably the 6x12s are in the layout, because I wasn't thinking about building Galaxy Explorers at the time. I was thinking about building my layout. But what I've done on a few Galaxy Explorers, instead of using a 6x12, I'll use a 6x16 and a 6x whatever other piece, and fill it in with light gray at the bottom, but they're not 6x12. So that's one thing, and it really shows up, the color differential really shows up in the 4x and the 2x, because this is both light gray. One is very brittle, so I don't want to use it too often. And one is relatively looking like it's mint. So I grabbed all the mint 4x12s out of my bin here, and I left all the yellowed 4x12s in the bin. I'm not throwing them out, and I may try to retrobrite them, but I've also told that, I mean, these things are brittle to begin with. Like if you put any pressure on it, it's gonna snap. I found that out like years ago. And retrobrite, I was told, makes it even more brittle. So I'm like, so these things are not going to be used until it's going to go into a permanent structure that doesn't have to be taken apart. Because if you try to take it apart, it's going to break. That's from my knowledge. And so those are my 4x bin. I actually have 2 4x bins of, the other one's not as full as this. But so I'm not low on 4x light gray plates, but I am very low on 6x light gray plates. And the other question that came to me from a good friend was, would I have enough wing plates? And this is, I don't want to mean flexing. So this is my bin of 4x4 wings and 4x8 wings, and also the 8x8 wings that take the same shape. That came out a little bit after, and also the tails. So if you look at where are they? These guys here. These tails are in here too. So this is my bin of 4x4 wing plates and 4x8 wing plates, and then the 8x8 wing plates that came out in the Gamma 5s and the rest of them. And again, tails. So I think I was just doing it. But when I was looking through here, and I mentioned it, and you can see that some of these are yellowed too. If you look at the comparison, some of them are yellowed. It's what happens. And you can't get away with it, and you can't get around it. This is what happens, and it's part of the hobby. I mentioned that Jake and I, when we built, when we were making Lego Wars, we had to make the Dark Dude Mobile, which was the biggest thing I had ever built at that time. And we took a lot of parts from, other people's collections. Some didn't get back. That's my fault. But Jake's collection, I mentioned, was in his basement, and they had a little bit of a flood. And if you can see, there's some stains on this brick, this wing plate. This is water damage. Now, I could have cleaned that off, but this is from our Lego Wars movie. So I haven't cleaned this one off. I don't think there's any more in here. Because again, I honestly tried to get all the pieces back to the people who lent them to us when we were building the Dark Dome, because I did not have enough pieces at that time to build that big ship, especially the wing plates. But this one came from Jake's collection, and I guess it didn't get back to Jake, but I saw it in here when I was grabbing my wing plates, and I said, hey, I'm gonna actually have a video and talk about this, because this is like, I'm gonna say I have had a lot of obviously 50 plus years of awesome memories with this hobby. And when you're a kid, you don't think of it as a hobby. It's just you playing with Lego bricks and having a good time with it. But I have lots of good memories across my entire life with this hobby, and the people I've met and got to do shows with, and blah blah blah. And I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate all the people who have come into my life because of this hobby, and the people I adore to this day. There's a list, and even people I have not met personally in real life, but online, especially on Lugnet and after Lugnet. But this is going right back to, I'm 14, 15, 16 years old, and we're making a Lego movie. and I have so, I mean, I mentioned I wasn't the nicest guy, but I am socially awkward. Straight up, I readily admit to that. I am socially awkward when I get nervous and excited. But I've tempered that now as I gotten older, I hope. But when I was back then, when I'm excited and get a little bit whatever, I don't necessarily come across as the nicest person. and it's not malicious, it's just I don't think before I speak. But I still, and that's just a tangent, nothing to say about that. But Jake and Pete were absolutely fantastic when we made that movie that weekend. We did it in a whole weekend. That movie was made Friday night to Sunday, and we actually had to send back the video camera because we only rented it for the weekend. Well, Jake's dad rented it for the weekend for us. But so we only had it for a weekend. So we had to do the entire movie in the weekend, or film it, and then we did the audio dub later at Jake's place. But I have such good memories with them, and I actually have the memories of building the Dark Doom-mobile with Jake. And as they say, the paper mache moonscape. So every time I come across a piece that I know came from the movie, it's just like, it's a little bit of a comfort, it's a little bit of throwback, it's a little bit of, hey, this happened 40 years ago. Well, 1984, so it's 30 whatever years ago. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So anyway, I decided to show you that the parts necessary for a Galaxy Explorer in the collection behind me, overall, not too worried about it. It's the specific parts like that. It's the specific parts that I've already used lots. And again, it's because I've used them. I've used all these parts in the 6890s because I decided to see how many of those I could build. And if I decided to take a bunch of those apart, I would have enough pieces. And if I decided to take the layout apart, I would have all the pieces for that. And those were the only really defining pieces as to why I'm only building 2 instead of 5 right now. Because as I showed you the other day, I have a bunch more LL928 bricks and all the other ones. The limiting factors were the 2x2 rounds and the 1x4 with vertical black stripes on it. Now, the other thing I want to point out is the Galaxy Explorer came out, I don't know if Gary would know better than this, but Classic Space was released in 1978. It was released in 1978, but the sets were not supposed to be released until 1979. And the reason why they came out in 1978 is Lego got the impetus from I don't know who to get the Classic Space sets into these stores before Christmas 1978. Because I remember we moved, and I talked about this before, we moved August 1979 from the old house, what I always call the old house, to the new house that I grew up in. And I was 12. And so therefore it was August 1979. It was also Peace Festival weekend. So it's vivid in my memory that that's when we moved. Because it was traumatic for a 12-year-old who was born and raised in one house, and then at 12 that you leave the house that you loved with the sandbox and the field and all that other stuff behind your house to a different house. Now I got over it pretty quick because the new house is pretty cool too. But I know we moved August 1979, and I know that we moved my Lego collection from the old house to the new house in 1979, and I know that I got the 918 one for Christmas at the old house. So that had to be 1978. It had to be because I was in the new house in 1979 for Christmas. Anyways, the whole point of that is Lego released the sets early, I think 6 months early, 1978 for Christmas. I got the 918. I do not believe, I think the 924 was available. the 918 was available, the 926 was available on the original 32 by 32 base plate without the craters. It was brick built craters. I believe, I could be wrong. And a few other miscellaneous small space sets, 886, whatever. So those came out in 1978, and the Galaxy Explorer did not come out until the 6 months later in 1979. So for the next Christmas, a lot of my friends got the Galaxy Explorer. I already had the 918. I didn't get any more space sets after that. So until the 6890 dropped in my lap, and then 6880 and all the other cute little ones that I got a few years later. But the first year of classic space sets, and I talked about this before, is the 1x2 plates with handles are different than the 1x2 plates with handles that came out after. And you can tell the difference because these, in front of the camera, these handles are exactly centered on the brick, on the plate. And the this type 2, the actual handles are low. They're kind of 3/4 the way down, attached to the plate. I don't know why they changed it. I really don't care. They had to. I can't understand I understand why they made the handle different, because this is slightly bigger than the minifig hand, and the new handles are not. And these things are slightly bigger. And I did this in a whole video a while back. Is that these handles are longer than 2 studs. So if you do this and you try to put a brick on the 3rd stud, it's not going to fit, right? It's not going to fit there because the handles are in the way. So the handles extend too far into the 3rd stud. So they shortened the handle, and they made it a little smaller diameter, and they lowered it on the 1x2 plate. Just a little thing that, just a little information, just education. So these are what they call the Type 1 handles. And again, I have all the Type 1 handles I need to build the Galaxy Explorers if I want to. So it's just, honestly, and it's just, a lot of people look at this now and say, I'm a lucky guy. I am a lucky guy. Straight up, I'm a lucky guy to have the collection I have. But it's not like it just fell into my lap. It's a collection that I have been working on for 50 years, actively for 50 years. There hasn't been a time when I wasn't actively working on my collection. And back 20 years ago or 30 years ago, even when eBay first showed up, I told you the story, the last video, where I bid on every single Galaxy Explorer and $75, and I won if I did, I didn't. I was able to do that back then. You can't do that anymore. You honestly can't do it anymore. I mean, I haven't looked at, and I mentioned this in the last video, I haven't looked at eBay to see what Galaxy Explorers are going for now on eBay, but I know what they're going for in Bricklink, and they're a pretty penny. They're a pretty penny now. And it is what it is. But I don't collect Star Wars. I don't even have Space Police 3. Hardly. I mean, I have a few sets that I got on deep discount, and I get some sets when I buy used lots now, but I didn't care for it too much. I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad series. I thought, hey, the minifigs are really good, really cute, and the sets are cool, but it didn't seem like a cohesive theme for me. I bought the capital ship. I remember that. I bought the capital ship because I wanted, and this is the other thing, I was actually building the layout. And I wanted the 2x4x5 trans dark blue half round to build the layout. So that's why I bought it, because that capital ship came with, I think, eight of those. And it was a fun build, and I built it. I think I got the little space guy with K9, the little robot dog. But again, I wasn't, I have to get them. But in 20 years, if you jump into Lego then, 20 years from now, and you say, all these Space Police 3 sets are very expensive now. Yes, they are. 20 years from now, they're going to be, right? Anything that's been discontinued, this thing was discontinued in 1984. How long ago was that? It's going to be some money. Lego did change my original time on eBay. Nobody knew how expensive Lego was. People are just getting rid of it, like at garage sales and stuff. But now it's a collector thing, and I think it's good and bad for the hobby. A lot of people scoop up a lot of sets very, very quickly Now you got $900 sets and that $1,000 sets. You got the Roman Coliseum. You got the Millennium Falcon again, the big one, the ISDs, like, and they're coming up with more. They're coming up with Optimus Prime. I might buy that because I did like that. It's a hobby that's kind of also, it's a collector item now, and it is what it is. And I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. Again, I worked at it. I worked at gathering all this stuff when I was over my 30, 40 years of adulthood. And even when I was a kid in high school. I don't know if any of my friends that sold me their sets for beer money, actually, their collections for beer money, actually regret selling me their sets now. Nobody's gotten back to me, and some of my friends are on Facebook. Nobody's actually talked to me about it, that I have their collection that I gave them $20 for, and I got this big cardboard box that came with Galaxy Explorers and 926s and and castles and whatever else. I have no idea. They probably don't even think about it. Like us Lego fans think about it all the time. I found this great deal. I can't go through a Facebook group and I love it. Oh, look at the deal I found. I got this box of Monorail Track, or I got this box of Castle, or I got this box of Pirates, a Black Sea Barracuda for $40. Yay! With perfect sales. This is the hobby, and I'm excited for them. Hey, this is awesome. Fantastic deal. I am not envious. I'm happy. I'm not jealous. I'm happy. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them that fell into their laps. I think it's awesome. I think people finding lots that are stuff that they want and they're interested in, I couldn't be happy for them. I just have my collection, and I think I'm going to say this quite clearly now. I'm actually slowing down drastically the number of lots I buy, used lots I buy, because first of all, not a lot of room. But secondly, the lots are becoming more and more third-party clone bricks, and a lot more, I'm finding, friends. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm not interested. I don't need more friends pieces here. And a lot less classic spacey castle and 80 sets. So I only seem to buy anything in the past 3 or 4 months that I see a classic space piece. Ooh, there's a classic space piece. I'll buy it back. But if I don't see a classic space piece, I don't care how many other fantastically awesome pieces are in there. I'm not interested, because I don't build with new pieces. I build with old pieces. So if I don't see old gray in there, why am I buying it? If I don't see a classic space piece there, leave it for the next guy. Hey, you get it. That's awesome. And I even post on my Facebook feed when I come across a used lot on the buy and sells, the marketplaces that I have subscribed to. I will post on my feed. I'll say, dudes, this is a fantastic deal. Look at all the pieces you got. But I'm not interested in buying it because there's no classic space. So if you want it, there's the deal. You can contact the seller. So I freely advertise lots that I think are really, really cool, but not for me, because I'm happy for somebody else to get it. I'm happy for other people enjoying this hobby. I'm happy for other people that find really, really good deals. You go through my Facebook, you go through my YouTube feed, look at all the deals I found over the years that I've been making YouTube videos. I found so many good deals for classic space. I could probably coast. I could possibly coast the rest of my life without buying one more set ever, and not even use 90, I keep on saying this is the one hobby where you have 99% of the pieces that you'll never ever use, but you just don't know which 99% that is. It's because I don't know how many pieces I have. We calculated 650,000 to 750,000 pieces. I'll never use 90% of it, right? But I don't know which 90% I'm not going to use. so I have it all. But the flip side, as I said in my last video, if you're a close friend, and I have shipped 6985s, not even a close friend, but an acquaintance that I knew, a friend of a friend that was a classic space fan in Ottawa, and I happened to pick up another 6985 in a used lot, and I sold it to him in Ottawa for the price that I got the whole lot for. So I got the lot for free, except for this, and then I gave away sold the 6985. But I sold it to him for less than what Bricklink was, not even the average, the lowest list price for a 6985 complete. because I don't care. I'm not here to make money on this hobby. I have a job. I make my own money. This is not for money. This is for my camaraderie with my friends, my hobby, my joy, my life. I don't want to get bogged down in selling like crap. Oh, I didn't get the shipping, or this piece has a dog shooter is not as described. I don't want any of that, because that's just going to negatively impact my hobby. And this is a bit of a tangent now. I've had not a good friend, but an acquaintance that's a friend, mostly online, but we met at a few shows. He's American, and he was no names, no names at all, but he was a community liaison to Lego, and that soured his hobby of this, and he gave up the hobby. And I'm going, people keep on asking, hey Dave, you should become a master builder. Nope. First of all, I can't. I'm nowhere near master builder status, straight up. But even if I was a really competent builder, I'm not interested. I am honestly not interested. I'm working for, I love the company. I love Lego, obviously. And the fact that the company still exists makes me very happy. I'm glad they made it through the 90s, because it was hit and miss there for a bit. But I will not work for them, even if they doubled my salary right now. And honestly, it's because this is my joy. And when it becomes a job, and if it gets bitter, are you kidding me? This has been a foundational corner of my not happiness. I don't want to use those words. I don't want to go, oh, that's stupid. But it's been my hobby since my earliest memories, and my love. And I love building, and I love creating, and I love it. And I never had a dark ages. And it's not my entire life, not even close to my entire life. I try to I'm not obsessed and addicted to it, but I love it. And just like I love scuba diving, and just like I love hiking and camping, and when I used to love biking, it's all part of who I am. It's a foundational brick of who I am, and I have lots of bricks that make up that foundation. So if I lose this, okay. If my place burnt down tomorrow and I lose all these bricks, well, okay, yeah, it's gonna be sad. Straight up, it's gonna be sad, but I'll get over it, because it's not who I am, but it's part of who I am. And and I don't want, again, this is gonna be another tangent. I don't know how much battery I have left. I don't want, there was a few times in my hobby where some stuff happened in this specific hobby. And this happened in other hobbies too, like Boy Scouts and other things. Not to me directly, and not to anybody I know personally, but there's some stuff that happened by quote-unquote other fans of the brick. And we can just talk about one of them, the guy who got busted for grand larceny. Because he was printing off his own UPC barcodes and putting them on, so it's a really quick tangent. Well, actually part of the story. So way back in the day, when the first UCS Millennium Falcon came out, there was also a mid-size or a small Millennium Falcon set that was $50, whatever it was. And there was the big set for whatever they were charging at the time. And what this guy did is that he went home and he printed off the UPC code for the small or medium-sized set of Millennium Falcon, or whatever it was, and he on a sticker, and he would take it to the store, and when nobody's looking, he would put that sticker on the big UCS Millennium Falcon. So he went up to checkout with a big box of Lego Millennium Falcon. It scans in at $50 or whatever the price was, and they go, oh, okay, it's scanned, and the guy, so he would leave, right? And he did this not just for the Millennium Falcon, but for other sets too. It's like he kept on, and I vaguely recall, because I was on Bricklink at the time, because he had a Bricklink store, and if I remember correctly, and people were wondering, how is he getting all these fantastic pieces and these prices and whatever and blah, blah, blah. Well, he was ripping the stores off. And what happened is that he got caught, because again, he got too big for his britches, as most idiot robbers do, and he did it across state lines. So now it's grand larceny, because it's across state lines. He was bilking other stores outside his state for the same thing. So that was it's a bit of a, well, Schadenfreude, whatever you want to call it, a comeuppance for what turned out to be a jackass that was screwing. I mean, you can say it's screwing corporations, and why should we care? But it's just wrong. If you can't do this honestly, I don't want to talk to you. You are not part of my world. If you want to do something malicious and nefarious and grand larcenist, then you're not part of my world. You're not, straight up. I don't want to talk to you. So that would not have embittered me to this hobby, because it has nothing to do with me. I'm not stealing. I always try to give whoever's buying off me or whoever I'm buying from the deal, and I don't usually try to talk them down. Oh, that's worth that? I'm going to pay that if I want it. If that's worth that, but I don't want it, I'll tell them that's absolutely worth what you're asking. I'm not going to pay it. If you hold on to it, maybe you'll get it. But if you don't sell it, I'm going to give you this in a week if you want it. If you want to sell it to me. So I give them the decision. And that's worked out a few times for me. But a few other things happened that I won't go into details of that made me feel really, really uncomfortable to be part of this hobby, because I got into a couple Twitter wars. Don't go to my Twitter feed because it has nothing to do with my hobby. But the people that I'm having these discussions with, this quote unquote discussions with, they will invariably go back into my Twitter feed and realize that I like a lot of Lego posts, and they will stumble across my YouTube stream because they go stalking me online, and they say, "Oh, this guy likes Lego. He's a pedophile." What? Like, this is their response to they're having their arguments eviscerated on Twitter, is that they will lash out like that. And not to put a too fine a point on it, and thankfully it never happened in any circles that I was ever part of when I was in Boy Scouts, thankfully, because again, I would feel extremely bad because I grew up with being in Boy Scouts all those years, and Boy Scouts of Canada is a lot different than Boy Scouts of America, so forget all that stuff. I grew up with solid role models, salt of the earth people who always put the kids' emotional and intellectual and well-being above everything else, and they worked their butts off to make sure that the kids had a childhood and an educational experience and camping and whatever else like that they can use for the rest of their lives. And so I was blessed again on that, because again, and I got out of Boy Scouts 30 years ago, 25 years ago, and thankfully nobody in my circles back then ever had any issues, and they were fine, salt of the earth kind of people. But I hear, again, I read the news almost once a year, and now there's lawsuits and whatever else, that there has been idiots down in the States and wherever else that have taken advantage of their position and blah, blah, blah. It makes me feel bad. Not because of what I personally experienced, but because you look to people for role models, and I've talked about this numerous times in my life. Role models are extremely important in the world. I think there's not enough role models anymore. I grew up with a plethora of role models of how to act and work and behave in society, and to help society, and to help the elderly and help the less disenfranchised and whatever. I'm a person who has a little bit of a radar for the people who are downtrodden and whatever else, and want to help. And I help where I can, for free, without thought of recompense, because that's the way I was brought up. And between family, my uncles and aunts and my cousins and the small village that I grew up in, this was the law of the land. This is what people did. They showed up it's not Mennonites, where the whole community shows up to build a barn. But we didn't have to be Mennonites in order to do the same kind of idea, where you are there for your neighbor. You are there to shovel the driveway of the elderly person living on the street. You are there, and you don't question it. You know, oh, mom, no. You get your boots on, you get your coat on, you go shovel the neighbor's driveway. Period. You don't even think about it. You don't. No, I don't want money. And my parents were very good at this. Like, if she offers you money, you say no. and they were adamant. Like, my parents would be mortified if I took money for shoveling. No, if I'm doing it as a business, business, and I'm going up and hey, I'm selling. I'll shove your driver $20. But if your dad says, my dad would say to me, Mrs. Jones down the street, she's 82, go shovel her driveway. Okay, no talking back. Get your coat on, you go down and you shovel the driveway, without any thought of recompensate, any thought of money coming back to you. So when I hear stuff, thankfully it's been very, very quick, and I haven't heard anything lately about stuff that happened with Lego people and other people and kids. It just makes me feel like, really? like it is a child. And so, and then you get the idea that because I'm not going to go down that path. It's just, it makes me feel less happy, not with the hobby, but with the people that it can attract, like Boy Scouts. Thankfully, it's been extremely infrequent, and I've only heard 1 or 2 cases in my life across the entire thing. But when I get that accusatory whatever on Twitter, just so some guy can like win a Twitter war, it's just like, dude, like you have no appreciation of whatever. So anyway, I can't even remember why I brought this up. This hobby has been fantastic. All right, the job. This is my hobby. If I was doing it as a job, it would be less happiness for me. And I think if I got into even if I even got into a position where I'm actually have a bricklink store and start selling, it'd be less happy for me because I'd be so busy with the bricklink store, and you know, and I'm dealing with the Karens out there, and not to use that pejorative, but the people who just want to whine about everything just so they can get slightly more ahead than somebody else, and that's never worked for me. We're all in this together. We're all going the same direction. At least we should be. And we should all appreciate what other people have, and the effort they put into it. And if somebody, as they say, somebody comes across a good, and I saw it today, somebody came across a good lot. Somebody in one of my Facebook groups, can't remember which one, but they said, oh, look at the lot I found that has all these pieces. Oh, that's fantastic. And I recognized, you know, some of them. So, and they're a pirate fan. Hey, this is awesome. Black Sea Barracuda, this is great. I'm so happy for them. And I never, oh, I wish I got that lot. Or, oh man, if I wanted a Black Sea Barracuda, I'd spend to the nose. Yeah, you would, but I don't think about that. If I want it, I'll get it. and that's the whole thing. And if I wanted another Galaxy Explorer right now, well, I'm gonna build 2. But if I wanted another Galaxy Explorer, I would go buy one, and I would save up the money and go buy one, because it's not the price of a house. So, or I'd find ways of doing it over a couple of years and buying parts here off of Bricklink and buy parts there. I don't know. I never ever got the feeling that I'm without in this hobby. I was having fun in my teens and 20s and 30s and 40s, just buying used lots and having fun washing and sorting in my lot. I never thought that, oh, I'm screwing somebody else. No, if somebody has something for sale and I want it, I'm going to buy it. And yet I get the feeling now every once in a while when I do one of these videos, and having these discussions, that some people say, oh, Dave, you're so lucky. Oh, maybe. I'm lucky with the friends I have in this hobby. I'm lucky with the people I know in this hobby. I'm lucky with the shows I've done in this hobby. I'm lucky with the, I don't know. I just feel that every once in a while that people have to get out of their own heads and stop, not blaming others, but stop acting like they deserve something that they don't want to work for. I don't know, that's not the right way of putting it either. I don't know. It's tough to, like, as if I always use the stamp collecting analogy. If I started stamp collecting today, right now, there is zero way, even if I won $60 million from the Lotterio or whatever, Lotto Max right now, I win 60 million right now, and I want to go in stamp collecting. I'm 54 years old. There's no way I could acquire the same collection as my Uncle John. because he's been working on it since he was 8 years old, and now he's 86. so I guess that's a perfect analogy. Even with all the money in the world, there's no way I'm going to have his collection if I started now. And that's the issue, right? If I started now. And so if you start now, if you start into this Lego hobby now and you like classic space, I love the fact that you love classic space, but there's you have better chance of getting what I have in this collection than I would have getting my Uncle John's stamp collection, or a collection comparable to my Uncle John. But it still be difficult. It will be very difficult for anybody starting the hobby today, or even last year or last month or last decade, to get this stuff that I have here, because I've been doing this since I was 4 years old without the Dark Ages. Here's for your money. Give me a box of Lego. I use that, not, well, it's a fun example and I like laughing at it because it's true, but it's what happened. And back then, Lego was stupid cheap. Used Lego, you go to garage sale and you get like $5 for a big box of Lego, like back in the 80s, because it's a toy. It's like getting rid of your Fisher Price back then. It's like getting rid of your J. Joe's back then. It's like getting rid of your Star Wars back then. Nobody knew that keeping Luke Skywalker mint in package, Luke Skywalker, oh, you ruined it. The comic book guy from The Simpsons. Nobody would know that the Luke Skywalkers that came out in 1977, that when Star Wars came out, the Kenner Luke Skywalkers would be worth $1 billion now if they're still in the package. Because you didn't buy it for a collector's item back then. I didn't buy the Lego back in 1984 with the beer money. I didn't buy it for collecting. I bought it because I'm going to build with it. I'm going to build my space layouts with it. I'm going to build like my ping pong table full of my little. I never, I'm a collector. No, I'm building with it. I call it a toy. Dave's playing with Lego. Sure, whatever. I don't care. Call it what you want. I'm doing it. My battery's going to die. But yeah, there is an understanding here that I have been doing this for this long, and if you come into this after that, you were born after me, you're a decade younger than me, you didn't have those opportunities, and it's sad. But you have other opportunities with this hobby that I do not have, and so it's a trade-off. And so, in some things I am more blessed than you, and in some things you are more blessed than me, and I'm happy for your blessings. And I'm happy that you are interested. I'm happy that we are in the same hobby. And there's no specific person on this, but I've had ruminations of discussions before with other people. Be happy that you're in the hobby. It's a fantastic hobby to be in. And be happy for other people's joys. I'm extremely happy for other people's joys. I've always been happy for other people's joys because they have joy. And I'm happy for their joy. I'm happy, it's just like my dad in this motorcycle. I will never ride a motorcycle. I will never, ever, 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 ever ride a motorcycle, period. But he, at 82, has this little Harley Davidson. Well, little's huge. He has this Harley, and he gets on it. I'm so happy. He talks about it. He polishes it. He loves it. He's not like obsessed with it, but he likes it. It's his hobby. It's one of his hobbies. And he enjoys it. And I'm happy for his happiness. I'm not jealous that he could afford to just go and buy a Harley. I'm not jealous that he did that. First of all, I don't want one. But even if I was into motorcycles and he went out and bought that Harley, oh, Dad, that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. He gets the joy from it. He gets the happiness from it. So I am a guy who looks for other people's happiness, and I enjoy it with them. And the envy and the jealousy, it's never been me. I've just never been jealous of anybody my entire life. And there's always going to be people better, people worse, situations better, situations worse. I live my life. I'm happy with my life. And I don't like negative emotions. I don't like those kind of things. So I rejoice in your happiness. And if you find happiness in this hobby, I even more rejoice. So, and if you find that you have a Black Sea Barracuda, I adore the fact that you found yourself a Black Sea Barracuda and you're so excited to have it, and you're showing off the sales, and you're saying, oh, this is so good, and I found it in this lot. And if you go to a thrift store and you find like whatever set from 1978, Tell me, because I'm going to be so happy for you that you felt, and that your excitement is contagious. And I will not be envious, because I don't have to be. I have what I want, and I have the ability to, for good friends that ask, hey, sure, I'm more than willing to give you pieces, because that makes me happy to give you stuff, or to sell you at a reasonable price stuff. But it has to be a comfortable thing for me. I think it comes down to comfort for me. So me with a bricklaying store, not comfortable. Me with an eBay thing, not comfortable. The guy from Ottawa contacted me when he saw my lot, and we got to talking, and he was a friend of a friend, and $6.95, and I said I didn't need another one, and he bought it for me, and I shipped it to him, and he got it, and so that was perfect. There was no fees, there was no, I lost it in shipping, and I want my money back. No, there was none of that. There was absolutely not. I'm not interested at all, because that would make my hobby less happy for me. Anyway, this has gone on far too long, 45 minutes. I'm gonna build these things before I go to bed tonight, and sorry I went off on this rant. It was a little more heavy than I normally get into. Some things have been on my mind recently, and they shouldn't be on my mind as much as they are right now. But I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be safe, and I want people to enjoy their lives. Be accepting for what is, instead of trying to make what you want what you're missing. Don't stop thinking what you're missing. Think about what you have, and if you want something else, then work at getting something else. But I find these days more people dwell on what they're missing, or what they see somebody else have, and they're jealous about it, or they're envious about it. And jealousy and envy have never been part of my lifestyle or comfort zone, because it's just a waste of energy to be envious and jealous, and not to quote Yoda or anything, but along that road badness lies. It's not really a Yoda quote, but along that road unhappiness, and I think you guys get the point. If you have negative emotions that powerful because of you're envious of what somebody else has that you don't have, I don't know what to tell you. It's just you're wasting your energy. So, anywho, I'm gonna build. So everybody, miss you. We're gonna do more, and we'll talk soon. Take care.